Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Commute. It's the Retire on Dividends Commute to Work podcast where we talk about whatever. So for those of you that are new to my channel, again, just treat this as a podcast. You know, there's only video so that we can get the audio so that we can post it on YouTube. So anyway, let's get to it. I figured I could make a video on, again, and sometimes I go all over the place, but I figured I'd make a video on how I discovered YieldMax and what my thoughts were in the beginning, and then why I ended up investing in YieldMax to begin with. So first off, I'll give a shout out to one of my Instagram followers. I think his name is P. Russell, to be honest. I think I got that right. He was always an options guy. He got me into options. He told me that I should learn it, and I did, and it was honestly the best thing I've done since I've started investing. And then he always tried to sell me uncovered call funds. And at the time, it was like QYLD, and I'm like, no, man, too high risk, not worth it, And QYLD was paying, 10, 12%, which granted at the time was like, it was high, but not quite high enough for me to be like, well, that would definitely be worth the risk, right? So it was just something I always shied away from, and I always had the mentality, I'll just do options myself. I don't need them. I don't need the fund. So that's why I really never, got into QYLD fully. I do like QYLD, I do. But it really wasn't until YieldMax came out that it kind of changed my thought process on investing. Now, obviously when he brought Tesla to my attention, and I'm like, what? I mean, the name is cool, don't get me wrong. So I heard Tesla, I'm like, let me look at this. And it was yielding, at the time, 70%. I'm like, get the hell out of here. There is no way I am touching that one. So I looked at it, and I kind of just shut it down immediately. I'm like, this is, no way I'm going there, right? And then I think either he brought it up again, or I saw it come up on something, and I was like, you know what? I have to look into this, all right? I have to look into this. And to motivate me even more, I think at the time I was like, you know what? I've had a YouTube for like 5 years, but I was like, maybe I'll cover this. Maybe I'll do some research and I'll make a video on Tesla. I'm not sure what order that was, but either way, I know I did a review on it pretty early on. And once I actually learned about it, I learned how the fund worked and what they're doing. And at the time, Tesla was actually performing pretty well. I was like, wow. And I actually thought to myself, if I can get 70% return, how much can I bring in, right? Because I always invested in dividends, mainly dividend growth stocks. But I knew it wasn't until I was going to be like 60 years old till I started to see some reasonable income, right? Because until I make like $1 million or so, it's nothing, nothing's going to change. But if I'm going to yield 70%, then that changes everything, right? So it was at that time where I had a mind shift, like, all right, if I put some money into here, I could produce, X amount of money, and, not necessarily live off of the money, but use the money, right? It's always been a goal in my life, in my wife's life, that my income would support her, to stay home with the kids. We weren't even close to that many, many years ago. But when these funds came out, that was the first thing that crossed my mind. So I invested it a little into Tesla and OARC at the time. I think those were the only two available. And then NVIDIA and Apple came out, and I got a little piece of them, and I was super impressed. And then I got to a point where, well, I don't know when I started tracking it, but I started jotting down details on a spreadsheet so I could see what they were doing. I was doing this on my own at first to understand the fund, because I was debating on moving money from mine and my wife's Roth IRAs to a taxable account. And I know, like, when you guys hear that right off the bat, you're going to say that's stupid. But hear me out, right? So me and my wife, we also have Roth 401ks. So, I treat that as the true nest egg. The IRAs were always just a bonus, right? A bonus to help us at retirement, to help boost us at retirement. So I decided I'm going to take all of the contributions we've made to the Roth IRAs, which wasn't much, to be honest. A little 15 to 20,000 each, right? So I took out the contributions and I moved that to a taxable account. Why? Well, the goal was to see, and produce income that would replace my wife's income at some point. Not immediate, at some point, right? And if not even that, at least provide us another income source. Because, again, we have 2 children, young children, 8 and 1. And for those of you with kids, both of those ages can be very expensive. We're dealing with 2 different aspects here. We're dealing with an 8-year-old who wants V-Bucks every day. He plays baseball, he wants a new bat, he wants gloves, he wants this, that, and the other thing, right? And then there's the 1-year-old, he don't want nothing, but he needs everything. He needs diapers, he needs wipes, he needs this, he needs that. So between the 2 of them, very, very expensive. Not to mention mortgage, property tax, this, that, and the other thing. So it's not exactly cheap, Plus I live in New Jersey. New Jersey has the highest property tax, and it's a very expensive state. To be honest, I don't even know why I'm still here. Family's really the only reason, but it's a ripoff, to keep it short. So the goal, I took out that money. I said, listen, and I told my wife, she don't believe me. She's like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna make this amount, and you're not gonna work. And so I took out the money, and the first mistake I made right off the bat is I invested half of it. I think I had 40,000, right? I put half of that. I think I put about $20,000 right away. I invested that right away. Into what? Well, Tesla. Why? Well, Tesla was the fund. It was the rocket ship that was going to, shoot us into retirement, at least for her, temporary retirement. And it was something that had a good track record. However, there was many, many reasons that was stupid. Number 1, I did not slowly dollar cost average in. Number 2, I was too highly allocated into one fund. Number 3, I didn't realize how crazy Tesla trades versus, the volatility it gets. So, in the end, it turned out to be a bad move. So, it was a move I had to pay for. So it was a true lesson learned. But it did not push me away from YieldMax. In fact, it pushed me closer to YieldMax because it helped me understand it better. How their strategy really, really does work better on some funds versus others. So basically, I got into YieldMax, and then all these other ones started coming out, right? Defiance came out, Curve came out, and then, the story, Roundhill, all these others are coming out, right? So I still said, okay, I had to honestly step back a little bit, once that happened. But at the same time, I started covering Tesla, on a video on YouTube. Like I think at the time it was once a week, just Tesla. And people started liking it, and they're like, "Can you cover that daily?" I'm like, I don't know, because at the time weekly was a lot, right? Hectic lifestyle as is. I'm like, let me think about it, and I ended up doing it. I ended up covering Tesla daily, right? And it was okay. It was good, and people enjoyed it, and my YouTube grew. Keep in mind, I had YouTube for 5 years, and I was never monetized. I couldn't even get 500 subscribers, so I was definitely not monetized. So the monetization requirements, they jumped from 500 to 1,000, which I didn't know until like I got to that point, because I hit 500 subs. I'm like, yes, I can become monetized. And then I went to do it, and they're like, no, you need 1,000. I'm like, shit. But anyway, that was no worry, because once I started covering the videos on Tesla daily, my channel kind of just grew, because people, they appreciated that. A lot of people were into YieldMax. Not as many people as you think, but people appreciated the work, because these funds are really, really hard to understand from the outside looking in. They are. And that's why a lot of people hate on them, because they see what, they see from the outside this high yield, and they look at overall just, capital gain performance, and they're like, these funds suck. But they don't really dive deep into them. They don't want to be honest. So, but the people that want to understand it, those are the people that appreciate my channel. And my channel grew, and I hit the monetization requirements, and I started making money on YouTube, which was awesome. And I started doing better and better. I've plateaued since, but either way, the YouTube income was an additional source of income that was, it was becoming just enough that if we pull, my son out of daycare full-time or whatever, and my wife stays home and she doesn't, have to pay for tolls driving to work or pay for gas, you subtract out all the things, all the costs of her going to work, right? And then add the income source. Is it enough to now support the family? Is it enough between my full-time income and the YouTube income? And it turns out it ended up being just enough, right? So far, we just started, so we'll see how it goes. YouTube could crash at any moment, so that's the risk, right? My YouTube channel can hit the shitter at any time, and I understand that. Or my job can become so demanding that I'm just too mentally exhausted to even bother with YouTube. That's also a possibility. There's many possibilities, but I have a backup plan, and the backup plan was the main plan to begin with, and that's the YieldMax portfolio. It's not a YieldMax portfolio. It's a high yielding portfolio. It's the retire now account, I call it, portfolio, which as of last month is producing me $2,000 a month. Now, if I quit YouTube today, I don't have to worry. I don't need that income, because I have the dividend income, right? So I have both of them to support what my wife used to provide through her job. So now, but again, between both sources, working, having one spouse stay at home, it's actually become a possibility. I know, again, for 8 years we couldn't do it with my first one. It was impossible. We couldn't do it. And then the second one came out, and I was like, I can't do this, because a lot of it was falling on me, because I work from home a lot, and it was just, I can't do it. And so, moral of the story is, getting into YieldMax became a blessing, not only for investing in it, but for covering it. And again, I'm not covering it. People think, not anymore, but in the beginning people said I just did it for click views. I'm like, really? If I did this, the people that say that, they do not understand what is involved in doing the daily videos. The daily videos, it is a part-time job. Don't get don't get me wrong, it is fun, but it is a part-time job. It is a lot of work to do the daily videos, okay? It is. And sometimes it causes, chaos at home because my son, if he wants to go outside and play catch, obviously, I'm gonna do that, and then my spreadsheet's gonna get delayed, and then we got dinner, and then I gotta wait till after dinner, and then, I'm doing it in bed, like updating spreadsheets, but I'm doing it daily. I don't think I've missed a day, and since November, to be honest, I don't think I missed a day. And I won't miss a day because I consider it a part-time job. And as long as it's a part-time job that pays me, YouTube doesn't pay fantastic, but it pays enough, and maybe it'll pay better when I get more viewers or hours watched. Damn, skunk smell. Woof. It's awful. But yeah, in time, I'm hoping it will get better. But again, a lot of people, I get the YouTube space, they do, let's sell a course. Granted, in reality, yeah, I could hit the button and say, all right, these daily videos, these are for memberships only, right? And I'll charge like, $1.99 a month or something like that. Obviously I could do that, and I would be making more, I guess, I don't know, it's an easy out, but I am not a hypocrite, and I'm not going to do that. If I'm going to get paid, it's going to be through the ads through YouTube, and that's pretty much it. I'm not going to sell my soul and do, what is it, Patreons, memberships, whatever the hell they offer. And I'm not hating on anyone that does, because maybe in some aspects, maybe those people are worth it, right? Maybe some people are so smart and they take the time to do all these courses that it's worth paying for. But I don't know, my thought on that, even when I first got into investing, I said I'm never going to pay a dime, to pay, because for any of that, I did buy a few books, but I don't count that. When you go on YouTube, you should not have to pay for information. All of the information is free. If you can't get it for free, you go to someone else's channel. So, but anyway, you don't have to worry about that with me. But so what the heck was I even saying? So yeah, that's kind of like the story on how I got into YieldMax and where I'm at today. Am I still investing in YieldMax? Absolutely. I own YieldMax, I own Ulti, I own Nvidia, I own Netflix, I own AMZ, I own Phoebe, but I also own a whole bunch of others, because my goal, in the beginning, I thought I could yield 70%, and I needed to get checked back into reality, and 40% is my new goal. I'm going to yield 40% on my capital every year. That's my goal, okay? And my capital, the goal is for the capital to stay flat, all right? So I want a 40% return in income and capital flat. And then here's the argument. Well, why don't you just invest in growth stocks? Why are you investing in this so you have to pay taxes? Well, I kind of just covered that in what I said before, but basically, I want to be able to use this income like that, right? If next month we want to do something, we want to go on vacation, or my wife's car breaks down and there's a huge expense, I can use that next month $2,000 to pay it off, or I'll use the next 2 months $4,000 to pay that off, right? Granted, that's going to slow down my journey to retirement, but that's okay. That's why it's there. I got no problem working. All right, I've been working my whole life, so even when I can retire, I'm not going to stop working. I can't. I honestly can't stop working. I would just get into, who knows? I don't even know what I would do. YouTube would not be enough alone. I'd have to do something else. I'd probably go work at a gym or something, to be honest. I think that would be fun. I never did. I did personal training way back when, but even that, it's not enough money unless you do it your own business. If you work for the man, like something like that, or even especially at a desk, you ain't gonna make any money. So, but if I don't need the money, I just need a job, then that's when I'll work at a gym like that, you know. But yeah, what time is it? 5:40. Almost at work. Gotta get. It's light out already. This is crazy. It's way too light out. I feel like I left way too late. But anyway, what the heck are we talking about? So yeah, YieldMax, man, I love it. Oh, by the way, I'm going to finally interview Jay Pestrucelli on, I don't even know, I forget. It's a tentative date anyway, but it'll be next month, early June. I'll interview him, and then I'll have a two-step interview. I'll interview him, just me, myself, and I, because obviously I have a lot of questions myself. I'm not even going to ask the community for questions, but the next round it'll be only community questions, and you know, kind of like what I did with Sylvia. It'll just be like live Q&A. I'm like the moderator essentially, or I'll do a follow-up question to one of the questions. You know, it worked out great with Sylvia, and I would like to do the same with Jay. But first, obviously, I need to have my own interview with him because I have so many questions. I've been covering these funds forever, so I have way too many questions to go live on my first interview. But yeah, I think after that, doing a community interview would be great. And you know, overall, if I have other people, I'm probably just gonna do the community interviews. Jay and Sylvia were different because I cover their funds a little closer. But if I ever have like another fund manager or someone, I don't know. Again, I don't strive for interviews. Honestly, I don't even want to do interviews. But if it comes up, it comes up. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. So this one had to come up. But yeah, it'll happen soon. Don't worry, guys, and it'll be fun. Trust me, it'll be good. I'll have to prep for it sooner or later. Again, part-time job. See, part-time job. This crap ain't easy. You know, my full-time job is extremely demanding. Believe me, it never ends. And then at home, forget it. You can it's beyond demanding. But anyway, guys, I'm almost at work, so I think I'm done yapping for now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. This video is for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun and were entertained. If you were, please hit the like button. But I guess I'm done. I gotta wake up, get pumped for the gym, and then go to work. And then try to get pumped for that, maybe. Anyway, I'm out of here. Later.